I think that's a good segue into the second part of this episode that I want to talk about. And that's with one of my new favorite YouTubers, actually. His name is Matthew Crater, but his channel is called Trader University. This guy he's been my newest crypto guy, and he's not one of those guys who I'm talking about reading charts about it. He's more about the actual economics of it, the philosophy of it, how it works, how it will affect society, what governments think about it. Makes a lot of comparisons to gold with Bitcoin. And this video specifically, we're talking about, is Bitcoin backed by anything? And he makes the argument that gold isn't backed by anything either.
And I will demonstrate how trying to show that Bitcoin is anything other than an expense and that gold isn't backed by anything. These two views, that they're just, they
So
don't
I'm going to go
work
back a
out.
couple minutes here. I really like this first. He starts off with just asking, are US dollars backed by anything?
And this part, I really like how he does it.
No, I really like this, what he explains right here, too. So for people watching, this is channel name Trader University by Matthew Crater. Title of the video is Bitcoin backed by anything, starting at 205.
Hands on some US dollars in order to pay your taxes in the US to the IRS. They will not accept euros, yen.
Hold on, let me go back a little bit.
Redeemable for gold. Are US dollars backed by anything in this modern era of fiat money? In a sense, US dollars are backed by guns, by police, by jail. You need to get your hands on some US dollars.
American dollars are backed by badges and guns. That's something Phil's been saying since, I think, episode 3. Badges and guns. And that's the only thing your money is backed up by in this country.
Once it's fiat currency, that's all there is. And the lingering historical connection to what was previously a money substitute, which was then abused and then replaced with a fiat currency. It's always the same. It's the same story every time.
So we're going to continue the video here.
To the IRS, they will not accept euros, yen, or Bitcoin at this point. Number 2, US dollars, in a sense, are backed by proof of war. We've talked about this many times on the channel. If you want to sell your crude oil, if you're a crude oil producer, if you want to sell your crude oil for something other than US dollars, and you don't have nukes like Russia does, you end up like Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. And I'll link to this article about Gaddafi, African gold, and how he was trying to sell his crude oil for euros and gold. So US dollars are no longer redeemable for gold, but they are in a sense somewhat backed by the threat of violence. Now, gold bugs are always telling us, gold bugs are just people who really like gold. Gold bugs are always telling us that currencies need to be backed by gold. And at the same time, though, gold bugs tell us that gold is money. So
they're saying, he's saying fiat currency is backed by gold. And that's what a lot of people say. He brings up a good question, and that's, what is gold backed by?
Okay.
And I just want everyone to take a second and think about it for a second. Especially when you're like me, when you're born, like, to me, I feel like I was taught, or at least I was always under the perception that gold is the backup for money. Gold, like, you have fiat currency and then you have gold, making sure it doesn't collapse back there, holding it up, right?
Yeah, and these are the vestigial language-based remains of how effective they've been in deceiving everybody. Once the Federal Reserve was established, their campaign to overwhelm people's brains with their bullshit went into full effect. Once they managed to knock Mises out in the 1920s with Keynes and his general theory of complete nonsense, it never looked back. And they've been on a campaign ever since to once again redefine words and realign everybody's focus in the wrong place to keep them bamboozled about what's going on. It's always the same. Now, this thing here, first, whenever somebody uses a word like gold bug, they're immediately being, I mean, that's just an insult.
Yeah.
He's making fun of them without actually, he's just trying to put a negative connotation in people's heads about anybody who will talk about gold.
And values gold.
So gold bugs are always telling us, again, that's just a misportrayal of what's real. Where, I mean, that idea is pushed down and suppressed as much as it possibly can. So this idea that there's all of these gold bugs all over the place yelling and screaming all of this stuff it doesn't bear out. But, okay, telling us that currencies need to be backed by gold. Well, that treats the whole thing as if currency is the primary vehicle of the conceptual framework that's being dealt with here. Is it? Didn't he just finish up telling us how fiat currency works?
Yeah.
So he's established how a fiat currency is a complete disconnect from money. And then when somebody who knows what real money is, that being gold, says that currency has to be linked to real money, otherwise it doesn't function properly, what does he do? He calls them names and then inverts the relationship between currency and gold by claiming that gold isn't necessarily the money we have to use. And that's his next line. At the same time, gold bugs tell us that gold is money. So it only seems fair to ask. Hit play.
Yeah. So it only seems fair to ask, what is gold backed by?
Seems only fair to ask these people, what is gold backed by? And the answer is really nothing. There's nothing behind gold. Gold just is what it is. It's those 79 protons and 118 neutrons in the nucleus of the gold atom. Gold is very beautiful to see in real life. It makes really nice jewelry. It doesn't rust, but it's mostly not an industrial
now
commodity.
Hit pause.
Only 10% of the...
Okay, so where is he going to go from here? You've watched this video. Does he just jump off from this point to basically jump to the other side of the currency fence and make the claim that, well, this thing that can't possibly be money, because I just told you how it's not money, but we don't really have to connect it to gold because we could just stay on the wrong side of the fence, call it crypto, spend trillions of dollars on computers, and somehow that's going to be money? It's the dumbest shit on earth. Now, what did he just list here?
Hold on, we haven't watched this part of the video yet. I think what he gets into, I watched this video a little bit ago. He does explain that, yeah, gold isn't backed by anything, Bitcoin isn't backed by anything, but it doesn't matter because people value it.
That's just stupid.
I think that's what he's going to get into next year. Let's watch the rest of this.